From the book of Mahmoud Salim al-Hout, In the Direction of Arab Mythologies Before Islam, it says, "It should not occur to anyone that Mecca, even if it is a higher status than other places of worship, is the only Kaaba in the Arabian Peninsula. Arabs had many other Kaabas, which they went to on pilgrimage, during particular and non-particular times. These Kaabas had servants, and they brought gifts and offerings with them to these houses. They circumambulated them and offered sacrifices there. Some Kaabas are mentioned: the Kaaba of Najran, the Kaaba of Ghatafan, the Kaaba of Shaddad al-Aidi, and the Kaaba is referred to as the House of God. There's a reason why the Kaaba is referred to as the House of God. I'm going to talk about this later. So continuing from the Ginza Rabbah, Hebel Zewa speaks, and Hebel Zewa was commanded to descend to the world of darkness and fight the evil spirits there. Let's see what happened with Hebel Zewa. Hebel Zewa speaks, I immersed my foot in the murky waters between darkness and light, and soon the world retreated before me. I passed 1,000 leagues into the world of Ruha, the first world of gloom. We descended until we reached the world of Zartani and Zartai, in which we stayed for many ages. No one saw us. Then set out for the world of the man Ha and the woman Ma, who were spreading their sorcery and power throughout the most fearful, terrible worlds of darkness. He continues, Then I departed for the world of the two titans Gaf and Gafan, giants of darkness who dwell by the spring of murky waters. Hebel continues, The great mystery accompanying me said, Let us go to Anathan, the warrior of darkness, and Kin, his wife. She is the mother of darkness, the gigantic monstrosity whose germ is the devouring, conquering murky waters. Then he says, We went forth. First gate we saw the enormous Shdum, grandson of darkness, whom none among the titans of darkness resembled. I, Hebel Zewa, said to Shdum, My forefathers have sent me to you to tell you that one of your offspring, of your kindred and family, has created a disturbance in the world of light. What is your opinion about this? Shdum answered, I do not know. Go down below me to a level beneath me. There you will find one who is older than I. That which I did with Shdum I also did with Gyo, the brother of Krun. He told me to go to Krun. Then I descended again. After aeons and aeons, I reached the loathsome Krun, a mountain of flesh without any bones. Its form and shape were of dust and soil. It was like a whirlwind. I asked him the same question I asked Shdum. Krun responded, The immense mountain of flesh said, Go back whence you came, or I will swallow you until no trace of you remains. Time passed terribly slow while I fought an epic battle with Krun, until I had reduced him to a bloody chunk. Then he surrendered, terrified, and said, Have mercy. I said, Give me your seal so that I can pass through the world of darkness, and no one can stop me. He gave me a seal for each place. I returned back and ascended to Gyo, passed to the world of Shdum, crossed it, and sealed the gates of their abodes. I sealed all of their abodes so that none could leave or enter. Then I approached Kin, assuming the likeness of her husband Anathan, and asked her, Kin, could you tell me what we are made of? She went about showing me the spring of murky waters and the spring of unlimited bitterness. I went about binding her eyes, closing her ears, terrifying her, talking the bitter bitterness, talking the utter bitterness. I left that world, closed its hidden gates behind me. He continues, I arrived at Gaf and Gafan, the great father of the worlds of darkness. I pretended to be one of them and married Zahriel, the daughter of Kin. Zahriel showed me the secret that protects the monstrous creatures of darkness. It was a spring which was unknown to all. There was a mirror in it, and when they gazed upon their faces within it, they would know what had come to pass and what would happen. Hibel continues, I took the mirror and appeared to Ruha as her brother Kaf. Ruha, as we've previously said, means spirit. Okay? Ruha here is described as one of the evil beings. I then invited her to ascend to her forefathers. Countless years passed. Ruha asked, Where have we come? I replied, To darkness. When we passed to the world of Zartai and Zartani, I locked the latches of its gates. I surrounded her world with locks that no one could open, and left her imprisoned in it forever. So Ruha is the spirit, as we've said. Ruha means spirit. She's one of the evil spirits of darkness, and she is identified with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit of the Bible, basically. Obviously evidence of this will follow. He is Hay. He is my father. He put his hands on me and said, Hibel, Yahweh, hidden messenger, whose father blessed him with his own hand, sincere, courageous one, you will meet Ruha and her son Ur through our strength, power, illumination, and support for you. We previously said that Mendad Hay is Hebel Zewa's father, so why is it that the great life Hay Rabbi is now being described as Hebel's father? This is because Mendad Hay is one of the avatars of the great life Hay Rabbi, and we will discuss this in the future, obviously. I returned to Ur and found him moving like a worm in the murky waters. He was a span long and a span wide. I saw Ur growing. He was growing so tremendously that the world might well explode from his size and strength. Ruha then speaks to her son Ur. What have you seen, my son? He said. What have you seen, my son? And then he responds by saying, I saw my fathers, each one in his own world. I saw the worlds of light, which I desire, in which we have no stock. Her heart shivering with fear, she said, My son, take after your fathers, do not be an enemy to the world of light. He dragged her by her hair, shouting, I am Ur, son of the Titans, I will fight the light. I will not fight the darkness. And a great fight ensued between Hebel Zewa and Ur. Hebel describes it and says, with the help of the great mystery dwelling within me, and by the power of Hay, my father, I grabbed the rod of light and confronted him with it. His eyes became full of tears. I beat him to the ground, trod upon him, and bound him with binds greater than his entire world. Ruha then appears to her son Ur and says, Why are you lying down, my Titan? You were meditating for a long time. Come sleep with me, so that you might have a son like you, who will release you. Ur tried but was unable to remove his bonds. Ruha transformed herself into one of Ur's bonds and slept with him. In this way she gave birth to the 7 sons, that's the 7 planets. But she did not like them. She slept with him again and had 12 sons. Those are the 12 constellations. Right, so she had 12 sons, the 12 constellations. Hebel speaking, I called the sun by his name Shemesh. I called the moon Sin. Before moving on, I want to say Ruha is an avatar of Venus. I've said this before, I'm going to prove it with evidence. Ur, on the other hand, is an avatar of the sun. Okay? Ur is an avatar of the sun, Ruha is an avatar of Venus. So the sun and Venus, the spirit of the sun, the spirit of Venus, copulated together and they produced the 7 planets. Okay, the 7 physical, visible planets and the constellations. This appears in other Sabaic religions as well. I have a chapter on this. So, Hybel speaking, I called the sun by his name Shemesh, I called the moon Sin, Saturn Kewan, Jupiter Bil, Venus Libat, Mercury Inbu, and Mars Nerg. They said to their elder brother Shemesh the sun, you will be our king, and Libat, Venus, will be our queen in the world. We will be obedient to the two of you. Hybel continued, when I heard that from them, I ordered the two Uthri to stand as guards over them, and to be assistants to Shemesh. Thus the world came to be illuminated. And the 7 planets are purgatories, the 7 planets are matartas. So the sun, Shemesh, who like other planetary spirits rides across the firmament in his boat. He is friendly, he is regarded as a power for good rather than evil, and is often depicted in mundane writings. He seems to equate with Yahweh Zewa. In Sabaic religions, planets usually have vehicles, the sun most notably. Prayers to whom? So this image that you see on your right, those are deities traversing the sun most notably traverses on a ship. It has a boat. Actually, I think it's best if I just wait and describe this with images so it makes more sense. But you know what? Yeah, I think it's best if I just wait and describe this with images. But see those boats? See this river? Okay. If this makes any sense. This river, the sun god is traveling along this river, and here you see the people in this river, right? And they are being punished. You know, the sun god is going to drag people into the boat and physically hurt their soul or spirit. They have different punishments, you know, including beatings and fire and other forms of punishment. But this is how it works. The sun is in its boat, it's traversing the firmament. Its firmament is this circular river, and every planet has a purgatory, has its own firmament. And you know, every planet has its boat, and they're traveling each in his firmament and punishing the people each in his firmament until they are purified of their sins, and then they can make their way into the world of light, shown at the right, the very right of the image, top right of the image. But we're gonna get to that later on, but I just wanted you guys to understand what's going on with the boat. So, the sun, who like other planetary spirits rides across the firmament in his boat, is friendly. That he is regarded as a power for good rather than evil is often apparent in Mandaic writings. He seems to equate with Yahweh Zewa, prayers to whom have a very solar character. Tradition assigns him a crew of 10 light Uthri, though in Diwan Abathor pictures there are only 4 figures besides Shemesh in the sunboat. Again, Zebra was doubtful, but the list is Sam Zewa, Adonai Bar, son of Shemesh, and Libat. Adonai is the god of the Jews, Adonai. Okay? So Adonai, the god of the Jews, and Venus. Venus is the wife of the sun, as we've said, so she's on the same boat as the sun. The light of Shemesh's banner, he said, came from the 4 Uthri of the polar star. From these 4 came the strength and light of Shemesh. Thus the sun gets its light and strength from Melkazewa, the king of radiance. Just as a mirror reflects a face, it reflects Melkazewa. This supreme god is referred to as the Great Life, Mastermind, and Melkazewa. The light worlds surround and emanate from him. With these controlling spirits are their doubles of darkness. In the sunboat stands the beneficent Shemesh, with symbols of fertility and vegetation, but with him is the baleful aspect. His baleful aspect is Adonai. So the sun god, there's nothing wrong with him, right? He's a good god, but he has a baleful aspect. That's the god of the Jews. The god of the Jews is baleful, right? In nature, he's harmful. He's bad. Let's see what they tell us about him. Adonai, as well as guardian spirits of light. The Mandaeans invoke spirits of light, not those of darkness. Nasorai are able to see thus sometimes. Nasorai, they call themselves Nasorai or Nasorians. The Mandaeans call themselves Nasorians. And if you're wondering why do the Mandaeans call themselves Nasorians, because Jesus Christ was preaching in the city of Nazareth, and his followers were called Nazarenes. Okay? So the Mandaeans adopted the title, and they started calling themselves Nasorians. Because they're from the city of Nazareth, and they were the original followers of Jesus Christ, and the Jews took the books of Jesus Christ and they corrupted them, and they corrupted everything. The Jews corrupted everything. The Mandaeans have the correct teachings and books of God, and they did not corrupt anything, unlike the Jews. The Jews corrupt everything. Okay. So Nasorai, the Mandaeans, are able to see thus sometimes. One would behold in the sun both the flaming drafsha, meaning banner, upon which are, as it were, the three wheels of light. We're going to talk about this. The Milka of darkness, who is the sun, who's with the sun, is responsible for the evil, sometimes done by the sun's ray. He is called Adonai. From his rays, from his eyes, dart rays which sear and burn. Okay, so the beneficent nature of the sun, right? Because the sun has a beneficent nature. It allows plants to grow. It gives us warmth. It gives us light so we can see around us. That's coming from Shamish. Okay, that good aspect of the sun is coming from Shamish. But if you, God forbid, you're walking around and it's a very sunny day, and you faint because of the heat, right? That's Adonai. You can't blame the sun god for that. You have to blame Adonai for that, right? So this is just, obviously they had problems with the Jews, basically. But the flaming standard of Drafsha, his Drafsha throws out beneficent rays and gives forth light and life and electricity. The Milka of darkness sometimes succeeds in bringing something before the Drafsha, so causing an eclipse. So Adonai is the cause of eclipse. If you ever get an eclipse, that's Adonai. He's doing the eclipse. He's the reason behind that eclipse. These 10 do not work only with Shamish, but they come to sin. On the 14th night of the moon, they are all with sin. They come to him, sin gradually, and leave him gradually. And when he is without them, Milka de Hashuka, king of darkness, and the Shivyahi, the evil spirits, have power to work the mischief. So this is their way of explaining the waxing and waning of the moon. The waxing and waning of the moon happens when these deities come over to the to the moon god. One by one they come over to the moon god. That causes the waxing. They go away. It causes the waning of the moon. From Diwan Abu Thor, the idea that the soul must pass through 7 planetary spheres after death, shedding in its progress impure and earthly qualities connected astrologically with each of the 7 planets, is familiar to the reader of Gnostic literature. In the Mandaean text, however, the rulers of the Matarta are not all planetary spirits. The planets Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Moon, Sun have their Matarata, but so have purely mundane beings such as Ptahil and his sons Behram, Anush, Hibel, Ginziel, etc., and the Savior Spirit, the personified Sunday. Okay, so we read prior that the sun is the god of electricity. Okay. He gives forth life, he gives forth light, and he gives forth electricity. Let's read this together. I'm going to explain to you what they mean by that. The ark or boat of Shemish, with the 10 Uthri, Shemish holds the mast or draftsha pole. So there's the draftsha, figure C, on your right. Upon this banner, wheels of light appear. Wheels of light is figure B. Sheikh Dukhail, describing the sunboat, said that the draftsha was flaming like electric wires. See this figure B? Okay, these are the electric wires. Let's go over to the Hindus and see what they have to tell us.
Today, I'm not only going to show you this ancient device called Adityastra, but I'm also going to recreate this device and we will see if this works. Adityastra is a device owned by Aditya, who is the sun god, and this carving is found at the ancient sun temple of Modara. Now, what does this device do? According to ancient texts, it's a magical device that mimics the sun. In darkness, Adityastra can glow and emit light and indicate its location. In cold weather, it can provide heat and it can even evaporate water and can dry up water bodies. It can also start a fire if needed. How could ancient sculptors imagine such a device? Was this container a power source? So what do you think? Was Adityastra an actual device that was used during ancient times? Today, I'm
So this is the electricity that they're talking about. They knew about electricity. The ancients knew about electricity. Let's read together from The Secret History of Ancient Egypt, Electricity, Sonics, and the Disappearance of an Advanced Civilization. In June 1936, workmen constructing a new railway near Baghdad accidentally discovered an ancient tomb. Archaeologists were called in and soon unearthed an entire settlement dating back to the 2nd century BC. There was a great deal of interesting material at the site, including engraved brick and glass, so it is not surprising that a plain clay jar received little attention at first. The jar, which seemed like a simple vase, was made from light yellow clay and was missing its neck. It contained a 9 centimeter copper tube, 26 millimeters in diameter, closed at one end with an asphalt plug. Inside the tube was the rusted remains of an iron rod. There was a 3 millimeter layer of asphalt on the bottom of the jar. Similar finds have been made at Ctesiphon, another site near Baghdad, along with amulets and various magical artifacts. Not surprisingly, the jars were labeled ritual objects displayed and forgotten. But the latest find was not forgotten. The German director of the Iraq Museum Laboratory realized it would only take the addition of acid or alkaline to transform the jar into an electrical battery. Dr. Arne Egebrecht took the trouble to duplicate the vase and added grape juice. It generated a measured half volt of electricity continuously for 18 days. Among the many finds unearthed by Egyptologists in the 19th century was a small horse figure that appeared to be solid gold. Closer examination, however, showed it was actually made from silver and gold-plated. The mystery was the high quality of the plating. Today we could make an exact duplicate of the Horus figure, but only by means of electroplating. This technique, based on Sir Humphrey Humphrey Davy's discoveries in 1807 involves placing the artifact in a solution containing suspended particles of the plating medium, sometimes called a cathode bar, holds the object to be plated. An electric current is passed into the solution with the effect of dislodging negative charged electrons from the bar. These transfer to positively charged ions in the solution, setting free single atoms of gold. The gold atoms collect on both the cathode bar and the object to be plated, gradually transforming into a wafer-thin layer of the precious metal. On your left, you're going to see a carving in Egypt. This is an actual carving. The writer of the book that we were reading from says that this is most likely a Crookes radiometer. This is used to measure electromagnetic intensity. And I'm going to add another note. So this is a very interesting book. The writer here also talks about how the tombs of the pharaohs, which had really long and somewhat narrow tunnels, could not have been lit up with torches, as these would have left black residue on the walls, and there are no signs of any black residue, nor with oil lamps, as those would consume much of the oxygen in the room. He states that there is good enough reason to believe that Egyptians had a form of light bulbs that were in use back then. Okay. That's it for this lecture. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, come back for some more.